Good morning, friends. What is up? Hope you're doing well today. Hope you got the day off, being Columbus Day. Luckily, I got the day off. Needed it too. Last week, I had some kind of respiratory junk or something. Man, I was down and out most of the week. Thank God it was over. Thank God it ended basically right before Saturday. Because what a day, man. We started out with 22 unbeaten teams, 8 went down. I mean, they just kept rolling game slot after game slot. Pretty remarkable day. Pretty interesting day. Great day for college football. We'll go over all that. Um, Going to get some news items first before we start. Hit that little subscribe button so you don't miss anything. Let's get right to it. Some of these news items are from last week when I was going to do a show, but like I said, I wasn't feeling good, so I didn't do one. So some of this is old news. There's a couple of newer news items here, but I think everybody saw what happened. Notre Dame beat Duke, and quarterback Riley Leonard went down with a high ankle sprain at the end of the game. They said he may return later this month. They're not sure yet. Uh, Pretty cool and classy what Sam Hartman did during the interview. You could tell he was worried about Riley Leonard. He said, "I'm going to go check on him at the end of the interview." Went over there, checked on him, make sure he was good. Class act by Sam Hartman there. So hopefully Riley Leonard, hopefully he gets back because it's very interesting watching Duke play this year, and they need him. Indiana fired OC Walt Bell. They just weren't getting the offensive production they wanted, so Rod Carey will take over. Georgia Tech, they demote Andrew Thacker from defensive coordinator to safeties coach. Looks like it may have worked this last Saturday from what we saw. Miami helped that a little bit also. Kevin Shure, he takes over as defensive coordinator. Iowa quarterback Cade McNamara, he had a left knee injury after the game, not this past Saturday, but the Saturday before. I didn't see that game. I think he played. I'm not sure. I didn't see that game. I was watching another game. Tennessee wide receiver Brew McCoy, he went out for the season with a fractured ankle. Ole Miss, they are fined $100,000 after storming the field over that win over LSU. They probably don't care. Most of these schools don't. They'll pay it. Oklahoma defensive back Justin Harrington, he went out for the season with an ACL injury. Probably could have used him Saturday, even though they won. But oh well. Man, this kind of bummed me out. Former Illinois linebacker Dick Butkus passed away at age 80. He had played and attended University of Illinois 1962 to 64. Drafted in 1965. Round 1 by the NFL. Round 2 by the AFL. Played for the Bears. He was UP Lineman of the Year 1964. Big Ten Most Valuable Player 1963. Two-time All-American 63 and 64. Two-time First Team Big Ten 63-64. Played with the Chicago Bears 65 through 73. I think I read he went to 8 Pro Bowls. He was also in a bunch of TV shows and movies, which he was quite entertaining on TV. I enjoyed it, but yeah, lost the sport great this past week. Prayers to him and his family and his friends. Rest in peace, Dick Butkus. You were awesome. Alabama defensive back Malachi Moore suffered an ankle injury in that game Saturday against Texas A&M. They are not sure how long he will be out. Like we said, 22 unbeatens to start the day. 8 went down. Pretty amazing Saturday. So we'll get right down to it. We'll go over some of these games here. Starting off with a FCS one here. Harvard 4-0 after beating Cornell 41-23. Harvard's quarterback Charles DePrima passed for 209 yards, 3 touchdowns, ran for 152 yards, and ran for 3 touchdowns also. Pretty amazing performance by Harvard quarterback Charles DePrima. That's pretty awesome. Let's see, Rhode Island, they moved to 4-2 after beating Brown 34-30. Jacksonville State is 5-1 after beating Middle Tennessee 45-30. Jackson State's quarterback Webb, 2 touchdown passes, also ran for a touchdown. Liberty, they're 5-0 after beating Sam Houston 21-16. And this time of year, we got those midweek games, Tuesdays and Wednesdays, usually MAC teams and Group of Five teams. Well, tomorrow night, Jacksonville State 5-1 versus Liberty 5-0. It's going to be on ESPNU. I think it's 6 or 6:30 game. Pretty damn good game for a Tuesday night. You got to admit that. Western Kentucky, they're 4-2. They beat La Tech 35-28. Reed, quarterback for Western Kentucky, 3 touchdowns in that one. Oklahoma State, look at them trying to turn things around. They beat Kansas State 29-21. Nebraska 3-3 after beating Illinois 20-7. Nebraska still has a turnover problem. They turned it over 3 times in that second half. Still won, but they got to get that cleaned up, especially if they want to get to a bowl game. All right, so I watched LSU Mizzou. That was a really good game. LSU won 49-39. Daniels, 259 passing yards, 3 touchdowns, 130 rushing yards and a touchdown. Diggs rushed for 134 yards and a touchdown. Missouri side, Cook passed for 395 passing yards, 2 touchdowns, did throw 2 picks. One was the pick 6 at the end that kind of sealed it for LSU. Schrader, 114 rushing yards, 3 touchdowns. Like I said, Burns, he made that 17-yard pick 6 there at the end to seal it for the tie LSU. Defense, though, LSU's defense still very much suspect. Secondary is probably the worst secondary I've seen. It's like week after week. Florida State, Arkansas, Ole Miss, Mizzou, they just keep getting burned back there in the secondary. They've really got to do something about that. JT Daniels, or Jaden Daniels, Jaden, not JT, did it through the air and the ground. Absolute. Mizzou actually dominated the first quarter and a half of this game. I want to say it was like 22-7 or something, getting close to halftime. They had 8 possessions in the second half. They only scored on 2 of those, so their offense kind of. But still, Mizzou's a damn good team. They're going to have a really, really good year. This is their first loss, so who knows what can happen. They do got Georgia on the schedule and Kentucky. Kentucky's got some issues going into that Georgia game, but they're going to have to get those cleaned up. But Mizzou, still a damn good team. Ohio State beat Maryland 37-17. Ohio State's McCord, 320 passing yards, 2 touchdowns. They were very sluggish in the first half. Maryland looked a lot better than Ohio State did in the first half. Tua, 196 passing yards, touchdown. Did throw for 2 interceptions, but he also ran for a touchdown. They looked good through 3 quarters of this game. I actually picked them to win this game. Came close, though. I mean, that 4th quarter came, and that was it. They were outscored 27-7 in the second half of this game. Missed a lot of opportunities to score, make plays. I don't know what happened to them. I guess Ohio State finally got to them. Maryland, 38 straight losses against ranked conference opponents. This goes all back to when they were in the ACC also. So they have a hard time against ranked conference opponents in the last couple decades. Buckeyes actually didn't score until the second quarter in this game. And it was on a pick 6 as a defensive touchdown. So that was great. Their defense was great. 2 sacks, 5 tackles for loss, 2 takeaways. Ohio State, this game, Notre Dame, you just feel like they're going to lose a game or 2 here coming up. Who knows what happened against Michigan? Even if you're 1-10 going into that game, that's just a rivalry game, just a whole lot different. But you just got the feeling that Ohio State's going to trip up and lose a game or 2. At least I do. I don't know that. Wisconsin, 4-1, beat Rutgers 24-13. Rutgers was only 2 for 12 on 3rd down. That's not going to get you a win. Oklahoma, Texas. Boy, what a game. Oklahoma wins 34-30. Gabriel for Oklahoma, 285 passing yards, touchdown. Ran for 113 yards and a touchdown. Oklahoma, great defense like they usually have. 3 turnovers, 5 sacks in this one. Texas, Ewers, 346 passing yards, a touchdown. He did throw 2 interceptions. Brooks, 129 rushing yards and a touchdown. Did you go back and watch the replay of that last touchdown Oklahoma threw there at the end of the game? Their left tackle, Walter Rout, number 75. He's blocking the guy. Then I think it was the corner that came in for a blitz. He's blocking both those guys to give Dillon Gabriel time to throw that touchdown pass. Go back and look at it. It's incredible. He's blocking this one guy. He sees the guy coming around the end. He blocks both of them. Both of them. I mean, that was just incredible right there. Yeah, gave Gabriel the winning time to throw the winning touchdown pass to Anderson. That's just an incredible play for the offensive line. UT's Malik Muhammad, he returned a block punt for a touchdown in that one. I think Texas, they didn't fall out of the top 10. I think they fell to number 9 or 8, depending on what poll you look at. But yeah, once again, the Red River rivalry, hell of a game. Except last year. Last year's game sucked, but oh well. Boston College, 3-3, making improvements. They beat Army 27-24. Toledo, 5-1 now, beat UMass 41-24. Toledo's quarterback Finn, 139 passing yards, 2 touchdowns, ran for 172 and a touchdown. Also, yeah, Toledo doing pretty good in the MAC there. 4-2 NC State now. They beat 4-1 Marshall 48-41. NC State's quarterback Morris, 265 yards, 4 touchdowns. He did throw 3 picks in that game. Northwestern, 3-3. They beat Howard 22-20. Northwestern, back in July, back into June, beginning of July, back in media days, I figured Northwestern, after everything that happened, was going to be 0-6 or 1-5. But look at them, they're 3-3. Get 3 more wins, they can make a bowl game in this turbulent year they've had. I mean, pretty incredible what they've done. UCLA beat Washington State 25-17. Moore, 290 passing yards, touchdown, and did throw 2 interceptions for UCLA. Washington State's Ward, 197 rushing yards, touchdown, 2 interceptions. They are only 2 for 13 on third down. They only made 11 first downs in this game. Washington State's, let me see if I can say this guy's name, Kapina Gushkin, 88-yard pick 6. UCLA held Washington State, though, to only 216 total yards. Clemson 4-2 beat Wake Forest 17-12. 10-6 game in the fourth quarter. Clemson finally pulled it out. Florida State went to 5-0, beat Vatech 39-17. Travis 170 passing yards, 2 touchdowns. Benson 200 rushing yards, 2 touchdowns in that one. Wilson had 2 TD catches for the Seminoles. North Carolina moved to 5-0. They beat Syracuse 40-7. North Carolina 5-0 for the first time since 1997. Back when Mac Brown was their coach the first time. I think North Carolina's got Miami this week. I think that's what I read. Drake May, 442 passing yards, 3 touchdowns. Also ran for a touchdown. They had 33 first downs. They were 10 for 19 on third down in this game. Drake May. Remember last year you didn't know what Drake May you were going to get. One game he'd be superb, looked like a Heisman Trophy finalist, and the next game he looked like he just started playing football. You're not getting that this year. Every game Drake May is playing top level. So they probably gonna have a pretty damn good year. ACC coming up. I haven't really seen their schedule. I think, like I said, I think Miami's this week. So they're going to have some tough games, but man, they could have a hell of a year. Iowa 5-1 beat Purdue 20-14. Iowa's defense has 6 sacks, 12 tackles for loss, 2 interceptions in this one. Louisiana Raging Cajuns came from behind to beat Texas State 34-30. Chris for the Raging Cajuns, 3 touchdown passes, and he ran for a touchdown. Miami of Ohio, another MAC team, is 5-1. They beat Bowling Green 27-0. Bowling Green, you're not going to win a game like this. They have 9 first downs, 1 for 8 on third down, and only 135 total yards. That's probably why you're not having a good season. Ohio Bobcats, they're 5-1. Beat Kent State 42-17. Rourke for Ohio, 300 passing yards, 3 touchdown passes, 2 of them to the wide receiver Cross. Ohio, another MAC team having a hell of a year. Oh, A&M. man, I don't know why I watched this game. I don't know why I watched it. Bama beats them 26-20. Milroe, 321 passing yards, 3 touchdowns. Burton, 197 receiving yards, 2 touchdowns. There were 14 penalties for 99 yards for Alabama. You know, Nick Saban's not happy about that. A&M's Mac Johnson, 239 passing yards and a touchdown. They actually scored 14 unanswered in the first half. Looks like they were cruising. And then the second half happened. We all know what happens in the second half when you play Alabama. Nick Saban's the king of halftime adjustments. And if you're winning, more than likely you're not going to win after halftime. Although Texas did. But Bama really turned it on the second half. Offense and defense won the battle in the trenches in the second half. Both defenses did play good, though. I was really impressed with the way they played. Bama had 5 sacks, 1 turnover. Alabama 6 sacks, 2 turnovers. Their defense caused all that. I don't know. As an A&M fan, remember I had one toe left on the Jimbo train. I don't know whether to jump off completely and say to hell with him or just ride it out the rest of the season. Because if I ride it out, I'm a glutton for punishment like I am every year since he's been there. So, Kansas 5-1. They beat UCF 51-22. Kansas still trying to claim part of that Big 12 there. Florida 4-2 after beating Vanderbilt 38-14. Mertz for Florida, 254 passing yards, 3 touchdowns. Vandy, 1 for 10 on third down. That is not good. Troy's 4-2. They beat Arkansas State 37-3. Colorado moves to 4-2 after barely beating Arizona State 27-24. Sun Devils led this game by 3 until the fourth quarter when Colorado outscored them 13-7. I figured Colorado would bounce back and win this game, but I didn't know it was going to be this tough for them. Arizona State is not a good team. I don't know. Maybe these recent ass beatings Colorado got went to them mentally. I don't know. So anyway, each quarterback was sacked 5 times by the opposing defense. That might be part of the problem. Offensive line, because both teams under 58 yards rushing. So. Georgia beat Kentucky 51-13. I actually thought Kentucky, I bought into it, thought they were going to be a lot better in this game than they were. Give it to Georgia, though. These last few games, people talk about how they sleepwalked through the first and second quarter. Not this game. They came out firing on all cylinders. It was pretty incredible. Beck was 389 passing yards, 4 touchdowns. Bowers, 132 receiving yards and a touchdown. They were 6 for 11 on third down. Kentucky's Leary, 128 passing yards, 2 touchdowns, only 183 total yards. You do that against Georgia, you're not going to win. Like I said, Georgia impressive from the start. They came out of the gate. They were just shot out of the gate. They dominated, too. They dominated this whole game. Kentucky really didn't even have a chance, it looked like. They scored on their first 6 possessions. 9 out of 11 possessions Georgia scored on. Defense shut down Kentucky's run game. They couldn't really get anything going. 55 rushing yards total. They held Larry down, too. I mean, he didn't have his usual game like he usually does. So they were Georgia great on both sides of the ball in this one. Michigan, poor Minnesota, beat Minnesota 52-10. McCarthy, 219 passing yards and a touchdown. He also ran for 2 touchdowns in this one. Corum had a rushing touchdown. Michigan only had 1 penalty for 10 yards in this game. How many coaches would love that to happen to their team? Minnesota, only 10 first downs, 3 and 14 on third down, 169 total yards. Michigan defense was all over them. Michigan Johnson, he had 36-yard pick 6. Saab, he had 28-yard pick 6. Michigan controlled both sides of the ball. They were in control. Dominated the lines of scrimmage on both sides of the ball also. Pretty impressive performance by Michigan. I know Minnesota's not Minnesota. They have been, but still. Michigan just looks like a complete team. They really do. Defense had 2 sacks, 7 tackles for loss, 2 pick 6s in this game. I didn't realize this, but Wolverines, they haven't lost to Minneapolis since 1977. Wow. All those games they played, what was it, the Metrodome? the Vikings and the Gophers used to play in. All those games there, yeah, they won those. Ole Miss beat Arkansas 27-20. Dart 153 passing yards and a touchdown. KJ Jefferson 250 passing yards, 2 touchdowns, did throw 2 picks. Washington had 2 TD catches. This was not pretty for Ole Miss. It really wasn't. I don't know if they were wore out from the LSU game the week before or what. Defense did keep them in it, though. Defense had 5 sacks and 2 turnovers. Only allowed 36 rushing yards for Arkansas. Caden, though. Caden Davis, the kicker for Ole Miss, he helped a lot because Ole Miss won by 7. He kicked 9 points in this game. So the guy should have been the guest of honor at the frat kicking party Saturday night. Arkansas, they just can't seem to seal the deal. I don't know what their deal is. Their last losses, lost to Ole Miss by 7, lost to A&M by 12, lost to LSU by 3, lost to BYU by 7. They just can't seem to finish the game. They're a good team. I mean, we've seen how many points they score. They just can't finish the game. They got to do something about that because, man, look at this. Look at how these points they're losing by. That's I don't know what to say. I really don't know what to say. And poor Coach Sam probably gonna get fired. Probably gonna get fired, but if they keep playing like this, he may not last another couple of years there. I like Coach Pittman; he's cool, but they've got to learn to finish games. I mean, they really do. Louisville beat Notre Dame 33-20. Plummer 145 passing yards and a touchdown. Jordan 143 rushing yards, 2 touchdowns for Louisville. Sam Hartman 254 passing yards, 2 touchdowns, threw 3 picks in this game. But was 7-7 game at halftime. Louisville really opened it up in the second half, outscoring the Irish 26-13 in the second half. Their O-line was incredible, pretty much controlled that line of scrimmage. Defense was too, 5 sacks and 5 turnovers. Woo, man. Held the Irish to 44 rushing yards in that one. Georgia Tech beat Miami with some help from Miami. Did you see this? This is just crazy. Beat them 23-20. So evidently there's 33 seconds left. Miami has the ball. Georgia Tech has no timeouts. So what are you going to do? Take a knee, right? 1 knee, maybe 2 knees if something crazy happens. But, hey, 1 knee. Now they run the ball, fumble it. Georgia Tech recovers it. Throws a last second touchdown pass to win the game. Mario Cristobal, I saw part of his press conference. I don't even to say about that. I really don't. That's just stupidity. Yeah, this year we've seen a lot of games lost because of stupid coaching decisions. That one, I'm still convinced Notre Dame would have beat Ohio State had they rushed 4 and had 11 men on the field. There's been a couple others. You're like, well, these coaches are getting paid hundreds of thousands of dollars, if not millions of dollars, and that's the stupid stuff you do. Wow. Iowa State beat TCU 27-14. Both are 3-3. I didn't think TCU would be this bad this year, but they are. Texas Tech beat Baylor 39-14. What the hell has happened to Baylor? I mean, they've just sunk. They really have. They really sunk. Night game I watched. It was really, really good. I really enjoyed it. Wyoming beat Fresno 24-19. Like one of the guys on TV says, if you're a ranked team, you don't want to play in Laramie, Wyoming. And it's pretty much true. Peasley for Wyoming, 183 passing yards, 3 touchdowns. Weiland had 2 rushing touchdowns. Keene for Fresno State, 218 passing yards and a touchdown. Moss rushed for 115 and a touchdown in that one. Cowboys, man, they played great offense and defense. Pretty balanced, too. 199 passing yards, 130 rushing yards for the offense. They did help. The defense held Fresno State in check. You just never saw Fresno State get going like they have been this year. I mean, couldn't get that offensive power going they have. That Cowboy defense was something else. Cowboys defense, 3 sacks and a touchdown in this game. So they were really playing. Cowboys, 2 for 15 in penalties. Bulldogs, 8 penalties for 93. I think we'll go over here in a minute in the schedule. I think Wyoming plays Air Force. Wyoming's got 1 loss. Air Force is still undefeated. That should be a pretty damn good game. Might be an evening game, too, so that's cool. Boise State 3-3. Never thought you'd hear that after beating San Jose State 35-27. Oregon State beat Cal 52-40. DJ 275 passing yards, 5 touchdowns for the Beavers. Velling 3 TD catches. Mendoza for what is Cal? Bruins? No, Golden Bears. The Golden Bears. Mendoza for the Golden Bears. 207 passing yards, 2 touchdowns, interception. Alphonse, I think that's how you say his name. Running back, he had 2 rushing touchdowns for Cal. Close game though, 21-17 at halftime, 35-32 hitting in the fourth quarter. I mean, these two were going at it. Beavers outscored Cal 17-8 in the fourth quarter to pull out the win. They were close in all categories: passing, rushing, total yards, except fourth down. This could have been the difference in the game. Oregon State was 5 for 5 on fourth down. Cal was 0 for 1. That could have something to do with it. I don't know. I didn't watch the game. I was watching another one. So it could have something to do with it. It took 3 overtimes for USC to beat Arizona, 43-41. Arizona is a much improved, lot better football team than they have been the last few years. Really, really, really good team. I think they're 3-3 though, so they're not finishing games like they should be. Very good team. Williams, 219 passing yards and a touchdown. Did run for 3 touchdowns in this game, so he kept going like he usually does. Arizona's Fifita, I think that's his name, Fifita. 303 passing yards, 5 touchdowns. Did throw an interception. Cowling had 4 TD catches for the Wildcats. Wildcats played them tough. They really, really did. They're better than USC in third downs, though. They're better than USC in third down conversions, fourth down conversions, total yards, passing yards, rushing yards. They did have 27 more yards of penalties than USC did. They just came up short in that third overtime. They really did. That's probably the reason they didn't win. Like I said, they're way better than they have been in previous years. Good for them. They just need to, and their 3 losses came at a touchdown or less. So that tells you how much improved they are. If you're a Wildcat fan, you should be really, really pumped up about your team because they could still have a hell of a year, and the next year maybe even better. A lot better. Now Arizona State just needs to pump it up a little bit. All right, so that was it. Let's go for some FCS games. Penn, they're now 3-1 after beating Georgetown 42-39 in overtime. Lafayette is 5-1 after beating Princeton 12-9. They obviously played a baseball game. Holy Cross 4-2 after beating Bucknell 55-27. Fordham is 4-2 after beating Lehigh 38-35. Butler 4-2. They lost to St. Thomas, Minnesota, who is now 4-2, 17-10. Furman 4-1. They beat Citadel 28-14. North Carolina Central is 5-1. They beat Albion 34-23. Tennessee Martin is 5-1. They beat Eastern Illinois 28-27 in overtime. Eastern Illinois, though, is 4-2. They can make the playoffs probably. North Dakota State 4-1 after beating Missouri State 38-10. Delaware is 4-1. Delaware is 4-1 after beating Duquesne 43-17. South Dakota 4-1. They beat Murray State 38-7. South Dakota's always been kind of a little brother there in South Dakota. South Dakota State's got a great team. South Dakota's just been kind of middle of the road. South Dakota Coyotes are having a hell of a year this year. So if you live in South Dakota, you should be proud of both your teams. Mercer's 4-2 now. They beat East Tennessee State 24-6. Villanova's 4-2. They beat North Carolina A&T 37-14. Western Carolina, they're 5-1 now. They beat Chattanooga 52-50. Chattanooga's 4-2 though, so they're a good team. Jackson State 4-2 beat Alabama A&M 45-30. They don't need Dion. Albany's 4-2 beat Towson 24-17. Central Arkansas, they're 4-2 now after beating Southeast Louisiana 33-26. Southeast Louisiana is 0-6 after being a playoff team the last few years. That's crazy how things work in college sports. 3-2 Youngstown State beat Southern Illinois. What am I doing? 31-3. There it is. Giving them their first loss. Nice. South Dakota State 5-0 beat Illinois State 40-21. Jackrabbits still Still going strong. Florida A&M is 5-1. They beat Southern 26-19. Tarleton State's now 4-2. They lost to Southern Utah 27-26. Montana 5-1 now. They beat UC Davis 31-23. This is actually a close game until the second half when Montana found a way to with the win. Idaho Vandals, who were once an FBS team, dropped back down to FCS level several years ago. They are now 5-1. They beat Cal Poly 42-14. Okay, let's go over some games coming up this week. Tuesday, 3 games. One of them we already mentioned is really good. You're going to have La Tech, Middle Tennessee, Coastal Carolina at Appalachian State, which a couple of years ago, Coastal Carolina at Appalachian State would have been a good game, but I don't know what's going on this year. But like I said, here it is, 6:30 p.m., ESPNU. 5-0 Liberty at 5-1 Jacksonville State. Pretty damn good game for a Tuesday night, you got to admit. That's going to be something worth checking out. All right, Wednesday, UTEP at Florida International, Sam Houston at New Mexico State. Thursday, 4-1 West Virginia. They're down the road here, down the road at Houston, 2-3. I don't know what happened to Houston. 6 p.m. FS1. And 3-2 SMU at 1-4 Eastern Carolina, 6:30 on ESPN. Friday, you got a good one too. If you're not going to a high school game, or if you don't watch high school football online like I do, Friday, 4-1 Tulane at 4-1 Memphis, 6 p.m. ESPN. That's probably going to be a pretty good game. We've all seen what Tulane does. I haven't seen much of Memphis this year, I'll admit, but I've seen what Tulane has done this year and last year. So then you got 5-1 Fresno State, who's pissed off. They lost to Wyoming at 3-3 Utah State, 7 p.m. CBS Sports. And then 1-4 Stanford at 4-2 Colorado, 9 p.m. ESPN. Hopefully Colorado doesn't have a bad time with this bad Pac-12 team like they did Saturday night. Stanford is, I would say Stanford's probably not as good as Arizona State, and that's not saying a lot. So Colorado should have an easier time beating them at home there in Boulder. All right, Saturday, 11 a.m., ABC. I don't know what to make of this game. 4-2 Syracuse at 5-0 Florida State. Syracuse was on a roll. Lost a couple games now. They did they're doing their mid-season. Syracuse does first third of the season. Woo! Middle of the season, yeah, and that's what's happening again. It started last year with that Clemson game. Remember, they were on a roll, lost to Clemson. They never recovered from it, but I don't know. It might be a good game. I mean, Syracuse is a good team. They're just not as good as they hope to be. So I don't know. Check it out. 11 a.m. Big Ten Network, 2-3 Michigan State at 4-2 Rutgers. Rutgers has lost 2 out of the last 3 games. The only win they got in the last 3 games was against Wagner. So the other 2 are against Big Ten teams. 11 a.m. Fox, 2-3 Indiana at 6-0 Michigan. Not sure how good that's going to be. 11 a.m. Peacock, 5-0 Ohio State, 2-4 Purdue. Purdue has snuck up and bit Ohio State a couple times in the last several years. Don't know if it's going to happen this year, but hey, you never know. I mean, you never know. 11 a.m. CBS. They gave Georgia the 11 a.m. time slot because they're playing Vandy. So, I don't know. 11 a.m. ESPN, 2-4 Arkansas at 5-1 Alabama. Arkansas, if they would just learn to finish games, my gosh, they could be 4-2, 5-1 right now. 11 a.m. ESPN2, 4-1 Georgia Southern at 5-0 James Madison. Out of the morning games, that might be the one to watch. I mean, unless you're alumni of these other schools. Yeah, Georgia Southern at James Madison, that might be the morning game to check out. 1 p.m. ESPN Plus, if you got ESPN Plus, 5-1 Toledo. They got Ball State, which is no good. They should win that one easily. 2 p.m. Pac-12 Network, 3-3 Cal at 4-1 Utah. Cal, like Arizona, is a much improved team. Not saying they're going to beat Utah, but 2:30 NBC. 2-4. Illinois. What happened to Illinois? What happened to them? They're 2-4. They're going to play Maryland, who's only lost 1 game. Doesn't get any easier for the Illini. I like Brett Bielema. I thought that was a great hire, but this year is just not going their way, man. 2:30 p.m. on FS1, 5-1 Kansas at 3-2 Oklahoma State. Oklahoma State gaining a little momentum, looking a little better than they did. 2:30 on Big Ten Network, 1-6 UMass going to Penn State to die, probably. I mean, let's be realistic. 2:30 ESPN Plus, 5-1 Miami of Ohio at 2-4 Western Michigan Broncos. 2:30 ABC, man, this is it here. This is going to be good. 5-0 Oregon and 5-0 Washington. We're going to see how both got great quarterbacks. We're going to see how they are against these defenses. Both teams closer. They are close in rushing. The rushing game is very close. Washington does have the slight edge in the passing game. They are a little better. Oregon averages 558 total yards. Washington averages 569. Two great quarterbacks, though. Bo Nix, 80% completion rate, 15 touchdowns to 1 interception. Penix Jr., 75% completion rate, 16 touchdowns to 2 interceptions. Like I said, depending on the way these defenses play, it's going to be a shootout. People always say how loud Autzen Stadium is in Oregon to play in. If you've never seen a game at Husky Stadium, they get loud as crap there. They got the hangovers over the top stands. That sound comes up, bounces off, and right back onto the field. Now it's a loud place to play. Still, depending on what network shows a Husky home game, still got a little bit of camera shake. Remember how every week you'd have a camera shake at just about every game? And I guess technology cut that out. Still, you get a subpar network that broadcasts a Huskies home game, you still get some camera shake. That place is loud. It's going to be a great game, though. I can't wait to see that. 2:30 p.m. SEC Network, 4-2 Florida. Goes to 2-3 South Carolina. Don't know what happened to South Carolina. They're supposed to have a good year, remember? Florida's starting to come around, though. They're looking better than they did. 2:30 on CBS, 4-2 Texas A&M at 4-1 Tennessee. I'll be honest with you. This game I saw on the schedule before the season started, I was like, oh, A&M's going to lose that game. They got a chance to win. Tennessee just isn't Tennessee like it was. They're 4-1, but still, they're not producing like they did last year. But it is A&M, coached by Jimbo Fisher, so you never know what kind of crap's going to happen with them. A&M does have the better passing game. Tennessee's got a better rushing game. A&M slightly better on third down than Tennessee is. Tennessee does average more yards per game. So, 2:30 ESPN. 4-1 BYU at 3-3 TCU. This looked like a really good game before the season started. It really did. 2:30 CBS Sports. 4-2 Troy at 2-3 Army. 3 p.m. on Fox. 5-1 Iowa at 4-1 Wisconsin. Good Big Ten battle right there. Iowa, though, they only averaged 249 total yards a game. That's crazy. Wisconsin, better passing, better rushing, better on third down. Playing there in Madison at Camp Randall, I would expect Wisconsin to win. 3 p.m. ESPNU, 5-1 Ohio at 2-4 Northern Illinois. 4 p.m. Okay, this is crazy. 4 p.m. Mountain West Network. I used to have Mountain West Network. There's some good games on there, but the system I have now doesn't carry it. 4-1 UNLV, got that? At 0-5 Nevada. Remember the last several years, those were changed. Nevada was the good team and UNLV was down here. They've like switched spots. Crazy. That's really crazy. 5:30 on the CW. Remember CW is carrying ACC games this year. 6-0 Louisville at a 1-4. What the hell happened to you, Pitt? I don't know what happened to those guys. 6 p.m. Pac-12 Network. 3-3. Much improved Arizona team who's 3-3. Going to Washington State, who's 4-1. Man, that might be a good one too. Remember we've talked about Arizona, heck of a lot better than they have been the last several years. Playing great football, almost beat USC, just kind of screwed up in the third overtime. Going to play Washington State. That might be a good one. 6 p.m. ESPN. Something always happens at this game, I swear. 3-2 Auburn at 4-2 LSU. Years ago, you had the earthquake game. Remember that? 1 year, a barn caught on fire. I forget were they playing at Auburn? I think they were playing at Auburn. fire and smoke coming over the back stands. The one I went to the game in 2003. A lightning strike right before the game was started. We all had to leave Tiger Stadium. It got delayed like an hour, and then we finally came back. Something always crazy always happens in this game. And if I remember right, I forget the stat. Either the home team always wins this game. Is it? Yeah, I think the home team always wins. I think that's what the stat was. Or it may have been the visitor team always wins, which didn't happen when I went. When I went, the home team LSU won. But yeah, some crazy stat like that. But something always crazy happens at this game. Here it is right here. 6 p.m. CBS Sports, 5-1 Wyoming at 5-0 Air Force. Man, that's gonna be a good game. Wyoming's got the better passing game, but of course Air Force better rushing game. We all know service academies, they love to run that ball. They're also way better on third down than Wyoming is. But yeah, that's gonna be a pretty interesting one. If you don't put that on your big TV, put it on your pad or your phone, man. Keep an eye on that one. Another good one, 6 p.m. ESPN2. 4-1 Marshall at 4-1 Georgia State. Both these teams are pretty even in the rushing and the passing game. Georgia State's better on third down than Marshall is. Both teams have a running back. They've each scored 9 touchdowns, rushed for 9 touchdowns, both of them. So that might be a pretty good one. Another one, 6:30 ABC, 4-1 Miami at 5-0 North Carolina. Miami, that wasn't y'all's fault. Y'all lost. That was your coach's fault. Y'all are a good team. A little better in the rushing game. North Carolina is a little better than the passing game. Both quarterbacks, 72% completion rate. Pretty even on third down, both of these teams. That's going to be a good one, too. This Saturday night's just chock full. You're going to need more than your TV and your tablet and your phone. You're going to need some other screens because at 6:30, Southeast Conference, SEC Network. 5-1 Missouri, 5-1 Kentucky. Both coming off a loss, the first loss of the year. Both want to make a statement of, yeah, we lost, but we're a damn good team. They're going to be fighting it out to get that win. Mizzou, better passing game. Kentucky's got the better rushing game. Cook for Mizzou, 13 touchdown passes. He's a damn good quarterback. Even on third down, both of them pretty much even when it comes to third down. And Kentucky's Leary, he's throwing 12 touchdown passes. So, could be a good one. 6:30 NBC. Undefeated USC goes to 5-2 Notre Dame. USC's got a better passing game. They're pretty both even in the rushing game, though. Williams, 22 touchdowns. Sam Hartman's got 16 touchdowns for the Irish. They're both even on third down, too. So, I don't know if Notre Dame really needs to win a game. This would be a perfect one to win. I don't know. We'll see. 7 p.m. on the ACC Network, 4-2 North Carolina State at 4-1 Duke. Duke trying to come back. They got to have that week off, so they're going to see if they can win a game after losing that game against Notre Dame. Even in the passing game, these teams are even in the passing game. Duke's a little better in the rushing game, pretty even on third down also when it comes to third down. 7 p.m. Fox, 4-1 UCLA at 5-1 Oregon State. I told you, Saturday night's going to be chock full of good stuff. Both these teams close in the passing and rushing game. Oregon State is a little better when it comes to third down. But other than that, they're pretty evenly matched up. This last game I'm going to mention, nothing special except for the time, and it's on TV. We have a Hawaii home game on TV. 2-4 San Diego State University at 2-4 Hawaii, which Hawaii actually got a good offense. They just can't seal the deal like Arkansas. 10 p.m. CBS Sports. We finally get that Hawaii game we all loved. Where we could stay up late at night drinking adult beverages, watching college football. Well, we get it. 10 p.m. CBS Sports Hawaii home game. Like I said, neither team is that good, but all right. So a couple of FCS games also to keep your eye on. With all that going on, FCS got some good games. Keep an eye on just a couple of them. 3 p.m. Eastern, ESPN Plus, 4-2 Chattanooga and 4-2 Mercer. And then 9:30. This one's actually on TV. 9:30 ESPN2. Right after that Marshall Georgia State game, 5-1 Montana at 5-1 Idaho. Idaho, I think they still play in what they call the Kibbie Dome. I guess they still play there. It only holds 16,000 people. It's like a basketball arena, but still, I'm sure it gets loud in there. But hey, 5-1 Montana versus 5-1 Idaho. That might be a pretty good game. All right, that is it. If you got the day off, enjoy the rest of your day. Hope you have a good one before we all go back, or some of us go back to work tomorrow. Remember, tomorrow night, Liberty at Jacksonville State. That should be a pretty good game. Good Tuesday night game to get us ready for next Saturday. Anyway, y'all be safe, have fun, and we'll see you next time.